everyone, welcome back to the channel. This one is another video in which I kind of do a response to someone else's video. Mad Season WoW. I really like his content. I really do. It's great content. He has when he makes every video he makes, it has a point, and he sticks to it very well. Unlike me, I cannot stick to a point very well to save my life. But his newest video, 2 days old by now, why the Warcraft community is toxic. And that video is brilliant. It's great. I recommend watching the whole thing. I'll put a link down in the description to watch it. But it's overall a great video. It might take me a little bit of time to actually put the link in the description. If I forget to copy the link before I go to upload this video, it will have to wait till I get home, or wait until I get at least on my computer for me to do that. By then the video might be already uploaded. I don't know yet. Little behind the scenes stuff. Anyway, yeah, he covers a few things, which is time, money, and it's essentially, to sum it up the best way I can, is he views that the toxicity in WoW is getting as bad as it has, and with other games, is because, one, humans' competitive nature, two, the amount of time, money, and emotions we put into the game, and the fact that as they put in more goal-oriented play, institutionalized play. I can't remember the term you used. I didn't memorize the term. I feel bad now. There's more institutionalized play compared to free play. The free play is when you first come back to WoW and you just want to level up a character. That is free play. Not fast, not anything else, just free play. Like how a lot of people were with Classic. At least the ones who weren't joining all the guilds and trying to do Molten Core as fast as possible. The ones who sat there and walked around, explored things, went off little adventures, finding all kinds of little quest givers that were forgotten at the time. That most people didn't realize it was a quest for, unless they were playing back. Leveling up, unless they were playing around and having fun back then. Like the chicken pet in Westfall. When I was playing Classic WoW, the chicken pet in Westfall, where you go to the farmer that gives you the quest to go kill the Harvest Reapers, with his wife behind him, who asks for Gortuff's livers, those liverless boars. There's a chicken, any of the chickens outside, if you do the chicken dance with them enough times, /chicken, eventually a quest marker will pop up on top of their head. You can talk to them, they're asked for some special seed, you buy it from the farmer who's right there, and you give it the chicken, it lays an egg, and there you go, you have a chicken pet now. That is, to me, one of the neatest interactions for a new player to find out for themselves, or see someone do it, and then they try to mimic it. Oh, that is a neat looking Tauren Room Master. Oh my. Sorry. Like I said, you already know if you've been watching the channel, I like looking at the old artwork stuff and the old rule books. Look at that guy. He's ready to go brawling. He is yoked. But back to the Mad Season WoW. His reason why WoW is as toxic as it is because there's more incentive on the in-game, getting us to in-game faster, getting us to the rating tiers, the harder content faster, and there's less emphasis on just enjoying the game. And that's due to a few reasons, he says. The time and money you put in, emotions you put into your account, into your character. And yes, I've realized I've done this too. I focused way too hard on an in-game goal. That was Dragonflight. I focused extremely hard on Dragonflight. To the point where, yes, we were trying to pick out any person we could to join our raid team so that we could get the heroic kill on Farak. And we didn't end up getting it because it just didn't happen for other reasons. But yes, I did feel that drive where the whole point of me playing WoW was not for enjoyment. It was just for me to get gear and get stuff just to do the heroic. That was it. I was pushing mythic keystones as hard as I could to do heroic. I knew there was a limit to it. I could do a 13 maybe if the group I was keying with was built correctly. But anything past that, I would have to wait for the guild to come online, and that was always a hot mess anyway. But yes, I can understand I understand the concept of you put time, you try and do the content, and why doesn't everyone just understand how to do the content? And now I'm at the point, I'm back to where I am without a guild, and I'm now looking at content that is new stuff for me, and I honestly don't feel like doing it. Not because I don't want to, it's because I don't want to fuck up and be the reason why the entire group just doesn't get anything done. For instance, I looked at the fights for the first two bosses of the raid. The first fight, yes, I can tank that no problem. I can do that without any issue. The second fight, it has a few mechanics, and I'm worried about those mechanics causing me to wipe the entire raid. It's not the best feeling. Yes, I could probably go into the raid and tank it without any issue, but it's the fact that I don't want to in case I might mess up. Because if I mess up, it'll be a bunch of blaming stuff, issues with me and the other tank, and then I either get kicked or the other tank leaves or other people leave, and it's just a big mess overall. And I personally don't want to deal with that. I would love to deal with it and, get through it and be done with the first time. But I don't know. Then there's the mythics. So the dungeons I'm not too worried about, because when I get ready to start doing dungeons, I haven't done any dungeons yet. It's been a few weeks, and I've been level 80 for over a week, almost 2 weeks now. And I 2 weeks. I've been level 80 for 2 weeks now, and I still haven't done a dungeon, which I didn't unlock World Quest until less than a week ago. So that, go figure. But I would love to just, I don't know. I know what I need to do for dungeons. It's simple and it's easy, and I can take care of it no problem. Once you start with the normals, do heroics. Once I get a feel for how things are hitting and everything else, I can do the heroic versions of all the dungeons. Then do the mythics of all the dungeons. I'm not going to be getting gear until I start doing mythics, so pretty much anything below mythic is just a practice for me, getting me back into tanking groups, which is something I need to do anyway. Ideally, I should be practicing healing, because healing is what a lot of groups need, I'm guessing. But healing is also another thing I don't want to deal with now anymore, because the way that druids have to heal now, I don't like it. But I will learn it because it's not as bad it's not as bad as a transition as it was having to relearn how to heal for Cataclysm, which is something that I'm gonna talk about too. But overall, I can see what the toxicity stuff is, and yes, WoW's community is extremely bad. You mess up in a raid, even if it was just a simple mistake, kicked. You go to join a... You see in the chat a lot, full looking for a quick run, known under this gear score, apply. Well, now that person doesn't get a chance to actually experience that. It excludes so many people because, yes, I understand wanting to exclude people because you want someone with a higher gear score, because the higher gear score means, they can probably carry, we don't have to worry about them messing up as bad. Or there's the idea that someone's not going to mess up if they have a higher gear score. But for those of you who actually do raiding content and Mythic Pluses and other higher end content, and you know very well that a higher gear score does not always mean a better player. It rarely does. You can have the highest gear score in the game and still die to a one-shot mechanic because you didn't move. Or you didn't move, get rid of the buff you had on you. Or you didn't do the one thing you had to go do, and therefore you completely lost everything. Feats. Neat. A quick detour. So, looking at this, the requirements is skill craft, and you have to have certain levels in it. And use technological device, which is cool. Then you need certain feats too. All kinds of fun stuff. But moving on to some of the things involving just what I think is help start the whole toxicity in WoW. And WoW's probably always had a bit of a bad community. I'm pretty sure even back in vanilla there were groups of people who just were complete assholes to each other. But they were mainly forced to, play nice, or they wouldn't get invited because reputation was much more important back in the older versions of WoW. In vanilla, there was no multi-server rating. There was just, you had the people on your server. Even PvP was your server had your server. It was locked per server. They added the battlegrounds things to make it where multiple servers' battlegrounds were linked together. That way you could always find a match. I do remember playing WoW at 2:30 in the morning one day, and it took me 30 minutes to find a match for Arathi Basin. Yeah, Arathi Basin. It took me about 20 minutes to find a match. Which you might think, that's not bad. The match got canceled and had to re-queue because we didn't have enough Horde members. Oh, sorry. There, I'm once again driving, and I was about to get into a lane that I can't be in because an officer had someone pulled over. Couldn't see past the truck, but we fixed it. But yeah, it wasn't until Wrath that it was the last big patch of Wrath where they introduced the dungeons that let you pull people from other realms into your dungeon group dungeon finder. That system is where it started, I believe, because I experienced it. I told the story before of me and the GM of our guild, just doing some heroics because we were going to get the badges. That was it. And he was on one of his ults. And we had a mage in the group. He expected me, made a comment on the enchantment I had on my weapon, and then bounced because of it. Mind you, this was a heroic dungeon. I had a random enchantment because I liked the color of it, the color of the light I put on my weapon, but everything else in my character was a mismatch of stuff I had from various raids. I didn't go to all the raids because I couldn't, but when I was able to go to raids, I usually would get one piece of gear here and there because my guild was nice enough to let me get a piece of gear every now and again. Basically, it was my participation trophy. I would rarely go for progress, unless he really needed me, really needed another person. But usually I'll be going in with them during their re-clears, and I would be given a piece of gear here and there, which was always nice of them. It also helped that I was like one of the only leather wearers in the entire guild, but that's beside the point. Yes, I was in a guild that had very few leather wearers. We had a hunter couple at one point. He's unstoppable and she's unstoppable. He's and C's. They were funny. Essentially, whenever one rolled a character, the other one rolled the exact same character, but they were just, and they would be the same specs, everything. So it was always funny. So if one had, especially when it started getting geared out the same, that was great. But the main main thing about the looking for the dungeon finder thing was, once that got introduced and you started getting people from different realms being able to group up with each other and do dungeons, half of the, almost all of the, looking for a group and finding a group and actually queuing up or doing stuff, going to the dungeon and actually going to do it, was gone. Now, yes, there were queue up systems that lets you just queue up other people, or looking for a group and finding groups that were doing dungeons and going do it. Yeah, that was there all the time. That was always there. That was there for years. It came in Burning Crusade, I believe. And there was a looking for group system, which was you literally just had a looking for group channel. You group up there, or you had a way to search for other players doing similar things to what you were doing. This was made better in the very beginning of Wrath, because they gave you different channels to use from quests, zones, events and stuff. Basically, the thing we take for granted now with the world bosses, where we just click the eye and it shows us all available groups, and we make our own groups like that. That was a system made back in Burning Crusade and made better in Wrath. That's something a lot of people don't understand, is a lot of the systems that we say is so cool, they're a lot older than we think they are. Yeah. I'm going to go to the next gas station because I need gas, and I cannot get gas from this gas station. There's no pumps available. I'm not waiting around for it either. Plus, it lets me talk a bit longer. That's always good, right? But Cataclysm is where that system got really bad. So Cataclysm had a lot of stuff going wrong with it all at once. And let's say that the looking for dungeon system came out. Yeah, the came out in the last major one of the last patches of Wrath before the pre-patch. So there was a time when the dungeon system wasn't complete, didn't go completely to hell. But then the pre-patch came out. That's when all the changes to how classes use mana and all this stuff, basically difficulty changes got put in place for the classes. And that's also when we went to the next expansion, and dungeons became extremely hard to complete, especially heroic versions, because it was more, you had to focus more on interruptions, you had to focus more on not standing in the bad areas, stuff like that. And you could see a lot of people got mad because, why am I dying? Healers are obviously not healing. Why are they aggro to me? The tanks are obviously not doing stuff. Why is this thing not dying? Obviously the DPS are not doing their job. We had a lot of problems with that. And yeah, the Halls of Origin. Is it Halls of Origin? I think it is. I think it's the Halls of Origin. It's the one with the yellow. It's basically inside the pyramid, I think. Yeah, you're inside the pyramid, and you have to get the top and kill the one particular construct up there. But there's 4 of them up there. You have to kill all 4 anyway. That dungeon alone, was it that one? I don't know. It's the one that has that room with all the different, I guess, mirrors in it. It's full of I have to go back and look at the exact dungeons, but it's one of the dungeons out there in Oldham. Olderall? Oldham, I think. The Egyptian high fantasy Sphinx guys, that area. Anyway, there was an enemy that it would cast an ability that was you couldn't stop it, and it was a channel ability, and it just made it where everything around it would take damage if you stood within so many feet of it. Basically, if you look at the ground around its feet, the area directly around its feet would just have like a tremor effect going on, and that was your danger zone. Don't stand in this. Or maybe it was black. I don't know. There was an area around its feet that you're not supposed to stand in, and I almost lost an entire group because they're all melee and they all stood right in that group attacking this last guy standing, and I could not keep them all up. The tank was the only one that could keep up, and like a rogue. The other two went down quick, and they blamed me for it and kicked me from the group. That was great. They gave me a chance to explain to them that they were standing in an AoE they needed to get out of. Fun times. The dungeon where you go to the top of the pyramid, that one, I been with the group the entire time. We were pushing through, no problem. This was back when I was out of high school, so I was working. So essentially, I had a few hours to do this. No, correction, I was still in high school. Yes, I was still in high school. I got off work. I had a few hours before I had to go to bed. So I go to school the next day, and I did a few of my dailies, and I queued up for heroic. And it took a few minutes because I was queuing up as a healer. We got all the way to the end of the dungeon. We were going to do the last boss, and the party leader says, "Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?" What? SpongeBob Boot. And I got kicked from the group. And then another person joined that group, the healer. Essentially, the party leader kicked me from the group because he wanted to bring his friend in, who just so his friend could get get something off the boss. I don't know. I don't think inviting someone else to the dungeon last minute is, maybe it just got me the reward. I don't know. I was just upset. I logged off a few minutes later because I was upset. I had sunk about 45 minutes into this whole old deal trying to do a dungeon, and it was just taken from me. And dungeons was the only way I was actually able to get gear, because I wasn't able to do raids, because the raids started at one point, and I could never plan for when I would be available to do raidings, because my job basically took away all my free time. Part-time job took away all my free time outside school, because they loved to make sure that their employees were always, had no social life. But that's something different. But yeah, that was an issue. There were, yeah, it was the fact that you could be completely anonymous and not have to deal with the repercussions of most of your actions, because most people you group up with were not part of your guild. You would not part of your guild, not even on your same server, probably not your same time zone, so you would not have to deal with them. You do what you want, you kick them from the group, and then you're done. You don't have to deal with them anymore. And Blizzard, during this time, wasn't really focusing on, punishing those who do stuff like that. They didn't really care. They only cared when, a streamer would, have a lot of people in one zone all at one time and cause the game to crash. That server to crash. That's when they cared. Not the fact that they had people going around and abusing their kick system. But yeah, it happens. But the cross server dungeon finder was the beginning of the end for having a stable community. The freedom to basically interfere with other people's gameplay and then never be seen again by them was way too much for a lot of people. Especially with the content being harder. So if you make a mistake, this costs your group the pull and probably wiped them, yeah, that makes it so much worse, because now there's an incentive to get rid of someone who's causing y'all to die constantly, or someone causes a mistake. That has a bit more incentive just to get rid of them. And that's where I think that's honestly where I think everything went. It all went into just it all went into a black hole once the group finder was open up to servers. I'll pause here for a minute. I got more to talk about. So, to finish up this video, there's just between the looking for dungeon going to all the servers and being able to bring anyone in from any other server, that's created a situation where you were not being held responsible for your actions. And then looking for raid, where now you have raid, which is supposed to be the top tier of the top tier stuff, being brought down. And honestly, some of those fights, if you mess it up, it's like another 10-20 minutes of just fighting a same boss. Because for those you don't realize, looking for raid is the mechanics do less damage, but the boss has increased health. So the fights are a lot longer than it's supposed to be. And it's frustrating. Especially when a wipe happens that could easily have been avoided if someone did the mechanic. But, yeah. And then there is the final thing, which to me is maybe gonna fix stuff. But I doubt it, and that is it's the the cross-server guild stuff. That, to me, probably cross-guild, I think it's cross-server and cross-faction guilds. But that's going to be okay, that's going to be fine, because now you can actually group up with people from the servers. Now, it's a bigger deal, because now you're part of a guild, which is easier to track down across servers, I think. But I'm not too sure. I don't know if the cross-server guilds things exist. I don't know if that's fully functional yet. If it is, that might fix the community. That might fix some stuff, but it's not going to fix everything. The main issue is that there's so much focus on the hard content, and the fact that the hard content is something you have to learn quickly and know it by heart within a couple of days after it gets released. For instance, I'm pretty sure when I finally start doing Mythic dungeons, I'm going to be bugged with the same question over and over again: why are you going so slow? And me simply saying, I just started doing Mythics a couple days ago, and I want to make sure I get the pathing down before I go to Keystones. Because to me, I'm going to make sure I know what I'm doing first before I go into the Keystone and either blow my Keystone or blow someone else's Keystone. I don't want to do that to someone. That's not right. That's mean. I don't know. Ultimately, I'm still going to play well. I'm having fun with it. I'm doing delves, and I can now do level 7 delves with. It takes me a bit of time because the groups can't really kill me, but I can't kill them that fast, so it takes me a bit to kill everything. And I am looking forward to doing other stuff involving the delves. So hopefully I get to. My goal is to be able to do the highest difficulty delves by myself. That's my goal. That's my personal goal. I can just go into a delve and just barrel roll my face right through everything. Just go in bear form, just cut my way right through everything, survive all the damage, and just keep on going. It does require me to be paying more attention to mechanics and cone attacks and everything else, so I don't die to it, but it's worth it. The only one I don't like right now is the candle one. I don't like any of the candle dungeons because they are annoying to me. I'd rather deal with the web dungeons 1,000 times over compared to the candle dungeon. Because at least then with the more webs, the only thing I have to deal with is more enemies. The candle dungeon, oh, I gotta deal with my health disappearing. I gotta deal with all this other stuff just going away, going bad on me. And I deal with increased crit damage. No, I'm tired of the candles. I hate dealing with the candles. I hate it. But other than that, the game's fun. I do think that the community might fix itself over time. It's mainly the fact that there's now more outlets to get gear, and hopefully streamers calm down with the whole wanting to be MLG, because those who haven't realized it, that the race to world first, it's that whole gimmick is starting to die down because there's not that many people willing to actually put the time in to do world first anymore. There's still plenty of guilds who try for it. I'm not saying they don't, but the ones who actually are willing to, people who are actually willing to commit to do that, they're not gonna do it very much because they don't have the personalities to work well with others if mistakes start getting made. Anyway, I think once again go watch Mad Season Wow's video. He does a better job explaining everything. Have fun.